今、先生とお子さんっていう話を聞いたんですけれども、今度、保護者の方、家族の方は、こういう、お子さんのこういうタイプがあるよっていうのまで受け入れてくれたとして、その発達理論っていうところっていうのは、知っているんでしょうか、理解してるんでしょうか、それとも、そこは教えないんでしょうか、そのあたりについても教えていただいてもいいですか？
Sure.
Could you tell us about that, please?
Yep. We have an hour meeting with the parents once a year, and they get a report that covers the child's developmental stage across their moral development and academic development and their cognitive development and their faith development and their social and emotional development as well. So it's pretty broad, and it also covers their learning styles and types when they get a bit older. So that gives us an opportunity to try and help parents understand the model. It's not enough time, and only some parents come to the workshops that we run, because I run a lot of workshops on integral theory and development. But those that do come to those workshops, I've had a number of parents have profound growth experiences by being at the school and being involved with this kind of parenting. Then they've talked about that it's a really powerful process for them to be in a community that's actively doing integral and actively talking about development. So we also run an integral life practices group, and that meets once a fortnight, and there's a group of parents who come to that as well. And that's been a really good way for the parents who are super interested in it to get more motivated and to get access to more information and more discussion. But it is a really hard concept for the parents to understand. A lot of them shift the grades that we have, like the classroom grades, they shift that onto development. So even though our class groups are based on developmental stages, so the egocentric class group, and then there's an egocentric to rule-oriented, then a solid rule-oriented, and then a late rule-oriented, and then there's an early rule conformist to solid rule conformist. So 1.5, 2.0, and 2.5 are the three discrete stages. The parents really like to see it still as they would as a mainstream school, as grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, which is what you get in the school down the road. So part of what I've learned we have to do is accept that. We can't shift it. I've tried shifting it for years and it won't shift. So now we discuss it that way. So we look at, for the teachers, it's very focused on development, the classroom design, the choice of the furniture, the choice of the access to resources and materials is still very focused around development. But with the parents, we coincide a discussion of the developmental focus of the room with those grades, so that they know that when they're in the egocentric room, it's a pre-prep and prep classroom, and that when they're in the early 2.0 room, they're in a prep grade 1 classroom, and when they're in the 2.0 early room, they're in a grade 2, grade 1, grade 2, grade 2, grade 3 classroom, and when they're in the late 2.0, they're in a grade 3, grade 4 classroom, and when they're in the early 2.5, they're in a 5-6 classroom. And that seems to help, but it doesn't stop parents from worrying if their child isn't going across to the next classroom with their peers. Because one of the things that's great about the model is that when a child shifts in their development, you can shift them to another room if they're ready. We always want to know if the child's ready. And they usually go with a friend, so we wait till there's at least 2 of them going. Sometimes there's a few more than 2. But for the parents, that just frightens them because they feel like their child is being left behind. So what we've been working on for the last sort of 12 months is looking at how there's actually some patterns that emerge where if we allow children to have, we usually start our year in January for schooling in Australia. So what we've started doing is intaking children in January, but also allowing children to start in their prep classroom in the June, July intake. And that usually is the same all the way through, we've noticed, in their schooling. So because we started doing that a couple of years ago, we can see that that gets repeated, that the children who start in January and are really ready, they are going to be transitioning into the next classroom in January. And the children who start mid-year are going to be ready to transition into the next classroom mid-year. So one of the things that we've just changed is talking to the parents by the time they're in the second group, when they're around 6 years old. We talk to the parents about this pattern, and we say to them, you know, you'll probably expect to see them shift always mid-year, or you'll probably expect to see them shift always at the beginning of the year, so that the parent has less of a surprise about it and it feels less like it's arbitrary, and they feel like there's more consistency to it. I don't think that works as well for the kids, but it's a compromise, because it also doesn't work well for the kids when their parents start freaking out and worrying about the fact that they haven't shifted into the next class group along with everybody else.
ありがとうございます。